Great. Well, welcome to BlueSync. We are going to be talking about awards. As you heard on our staff meeting yesterday, January is all about awards and recognition for the amazing 2024 that our agents had. Now, I know some of them didn't have maybe the greatest year. There was a lot of things going on last year, but we did have a lot of agents that did amazing things. And so we do want to be able to recognize them for their efforts. So I want to show you what the brand has available for our agents. It is the award portal. So if you remember way back when they had launched the award tracker, a lot of our agents still have that tile available in desk, but it's defunct. It has not worked since 2020. So if they are coming across that tile and asking about it, that is no longer the service. I don't know why the brand hasn't gotten rid of it, quite frankly, but it is still there for a lot of agents. But I'll show you where they can go to get to the agent portal, or I'm sorry, the award portal, because that is where they can go to make sure that they are tracking to their actual numbers. They can check where their level is for recognition, and then it will also give them previous years, which is nice because we get that question from our agents a lot. Maybe they're updating their listing presentation or their buyer presentation, and they just kind of lost track a little bit of what the recognition was prior years. The good thing with the agent portal is it shows them. Now, unfortunately, as staff, we don't have access to this. We can't log into our desk and go to like an agent platform to see our agents. They don't have that available yet. So the agent does have to log into their desk, which we know we can help them do that. You know, you can do a password reset if necessary. They do have to have their two-factor signed up. And then that will allow them to get into their desk to see their award portal. So we're going to jump over to desk. And I do have an agent's version up because, again, like I mentioned, as staff, we don't have access to this. So if they're over here in their tiles and they run across the one that says award tracker right here, defunct. If they click on this, they're going to see stuff from 2020. It's obviously not accurate. We're, believe it or not, 5 years past 2020. So that just is not useful. Best recommendation, tell them to click that X and it'll go away. It's not going to be valid information for them. What they do want to do is go over here to the left where it says my business, awards and production. I'm sorry, my production, my production. And then when they click on the actual menu here before they get the sub menu opened, if you will, this is what's going to show them their information here. So again, under my business, my production. And then there's two other options below, but just clicking on my production will open up this window. So it's going to give them their current 2024 level. It's going to give them the little option to hover over the question mark that explains exactly what that is, GCI in units, because we know the brand awards their levels of recognition based on one or the other. You don't have to get both levels of the threshold. It's one or the other. So whether you had the GCI for that level or you had the units, that's the level you're awarded. That's how the brand does their awards. Also, we'll track. Now, obviously, we're in January, so this information will be a lot more useful probably come mid-year because it hasn't updated yet for 2025, but it'll help them track to their next level. And then down here is nice because it gives the awards history and it actually gives them links to their own awards package. They can get previous year's social media posts. They can get previous year's certificates. If they're missing something, they now can go here and get it for themselves, which is really nice because before we never really had access. We'd either have to work with marketing to recreate it or they would just go without. So the brand now has this award portal, which is really nice for the agents because they can get to that prior information. Now, as you'll see, current information, they don't have the award package in there yet. They will. It will show up towards the end of the month, maybe early February. We know most of our awards events are prior to that. So they'll have the certificate provided to them at the awards event, but all their social media posts and all of that whole package that they receive from the brand will be available in this portal for them come end of the month, early February. So to back up, we started at desk. We mentioned that if they see awards tracker in here to go ahead and hit that X. So now because I did hit the X, you'll see that it now shows up in the add app feature. Leave it there. They don't need it. It's not active. It needs to go away. What they want to click on is my business and my production. This is what gives them their current level, which is their 2024 numbers. And then we'll give them their award history along with all of those assets that they can then use to advertise if they choose. Now, if they go into my production and they want further information, they can go to award resources, which will give all the criteria for the new year. Any nominations that may still be open, they can get to from here as well. And then if they go to award winners, these will be the lists. Now, they do have some real trends numbers from 2024, but none of the lists from the brand have released yet. Again, those will do so towards the end of the year. So if they're looking for the 2023 rankings, those are already in here. And again, in about 4 to 5 weeks, all of the assets for 2024 will be in here as well. So if they're wondering how they ranked versus all the other Coldwell bankers, either on the state level or the national level, they'll be able to come in here and view that. And again, that's under my production and award winners. Now, just to touch real quick on the new criteria, if we go ahead and go into there and click on the chart, we've been talking about this since October, if you remember, because we had to make sure that we had Dash up and running and reflecting the current levels. So you'll see now, this is the first year that we've had individual, duo, medium, and large. So there's now 4 different categories for award criteria for the agents. And keep in mind, as we zoom in, it's either or. So if an individual has, 630,000 in GCI, but they have 96 units, they're above the threshold for units, they would fall under President's Premier. If they have 655,000 in GCI, but only 90 units, they would still fall under that category. So they don't have to reach the threshold for both. It's one or the other. And that's a really good way to do that threshold, especially in markets where the price point may be a little bit lesser. So if you think of a Miami agent versus a, I don't know, West Branch agent, just picked an area we're not in, you can imagine the price point's vastly different. So that's why they have GCI or units, because they want to make sure they're recognizing those agents at that level, regardless of what their average sales price is. I do see a question, so let me go ahead and pop over here. Great question. Kimberly asked about commercial agents. So to confuse things further, they don't actually have the unit threshold. They only have the GCI threshold. And if you log into CBC Desk, if you are a commercial ASC, if you're a commercial agent, if you're doing any commercial kind of activity, whether you're residential or commercial and you have access to CBC Desk, if you come into here, and I believe if you go to marketing and awards, same kind of concept, you have your award resources, and they have the criteria sheet, just like they do on the residential side. And then you'll see here for commercial that they have it based on just GCI. So this includes leases, this includes sales, this includes anything commercial, but it doesn't count for units. So you'll see the highest level, platinum, minimum of 700,000 GCI, all the way down to the bronze level, which is 200,000 up to 349,999. Now, if you are a residential agent or your agent is residential and they're not considered to be a full-time commercial agent, if they had 1 or 2 commercial transactions, that's going to count for the residential level. So think about markets like maybe in the UP of Michigan, it's not really a full-blown commercial market. Obviously, there's commercial buildings, but it's a little bit maybe quieter of a town, so they don't have a full-blown commercial department. Any residential agent doing commercial deals, those deals count into the residential levels. If you are a commercial agent and you do a residential deal, sometimes it happens. Sometimes they ask for you to handle it as opposed to referring it out to a residential agent, which is kind of preferable, but it happens. Those won't count for your commercial level. So I know it seems a little backwards, but residential agents doing a few commercial deals counts towards the residential awards. Commercial agents, if they do 1 or 2 residential deals, those don't count for their commercial awards. And if you go into Dash and run their award report, it'll clearly say that, because if it doesn't count, it's going to give you that code and it'll tell you why. It'll tell you because it's residential. So I know it's a little confusing. So if you have any questions about where your agents are coming in at and they have questions, just have them reach out. We can jump into Dash, run the report, kind of look at those codes and make sure we're not missing anything. So great question there, Kimberly. But yes, if you want to see the commercial thresholds, go into CBC Desk, go into marketing, and then the award assets are there. Oh, Sherry, great question. I think I answered that about commercial and residential. Really, agents are awarded 1 award. So they kind of have to decide whether they're doing it, and the system kind of decides for them. Obviously, if they did 15 residential transactions and 2 commercial, the system knows they're residential agents. It'll count commercial towards them. If they did 15 commercial transactions and 1 residential, they know they're a commercial agent. The residential won't count for their award, but they'll get all of their other GCI. So it's always, some of these markets where we have residential agents, don't hesitate to reach out with questions. But that's kind of how the brand handles that. Now, one more thing that we've actually seen a lot more of this year than we've ever seen before is those agents that work more than one market. So we'll have an agent license in our Cleveland, Ohio market. Maybe they're also licensed in Chicago. The brand actually combines their award GCI for them and gives them 1 award. So if they maybe had 3 units in Chicago, but they had 15 units in Cleveland, the brand combines those. Now, it's kind of a newer program that the brand's running. We've actually got, I think, maybe half a dozen agents that applies to in our company alone. So if you have an agent that's in more than one market, I know a few of you had already reached out, but if you have any questions about that, just let me know. Best thing we can do is get over to, let me go back here. Let me go back into my production. Right here, the cb.awards at CB Home Office. Best thing we can do is just put it on the radar, because then they can go and be like, oh, yep, that's flagged. We already know about it. We'll combine their awards. They'll get 1 award. Or if it's not on their radar, they'll be like, great, thank you so much. We'll put that on our radar. So where they will receive the award if they are in 2 markets, best I've been able to get out of the brand is where they're most active. So if they had 15 in one market and 3 in another, their award assets are going to be in their desk and branded for their DBA for where they're doing most of their production. They'll add the production together, but as far as DBA and all of that, it'll be where they're most active. For example, we have an amazing agent in Cleveland, Evan Fogarty. He actually earned 30 under 30 this year, which is amazing, and we're super happy for him. We're kind of his lesser market right now. So his award came through, and it came through branded with his other DBA, his Coldwell Banker Elsewhere. So the brand kind of just discerns where they're having more activity. Now, if it's 50-50, I'm assuming, and don't quote me on this because I'd have to find out, but I'm assuming they go with whoever they were licensed with first. So if they were licensed in Cleveland prior to being licensed in Chicago, they're going to go with Cleveland. Now, if they were licensed first in Cleveland, but they have 75% of production in Chicago, it's going to go to the Chicago side. So again, that's kind of a whole brand new thing that we have been seeing. It's kind of a little bit of a shift in the market with agents working, actively working more than one market. So again, if you have any questions on that in your offices, just reach out. Great question. Amy asked, when will the awards package for their 2024 marketing show up? Most likely towards the end of the month. So we actually have till tomorrow for any discrepancies. And then after that, their team, their process goes into production, and most likely it'll be towards the end of the month. Now, we know we have our awards event starting in Ohio on January 28th. So most likely they won't see those assets yet, but we will be producing our own assets for them. They'll have their certificates and everything available to them. And then they will be able to get their emailed package to them just as soon as the brand is ready to release all of that content. Typically, we see it towards the end of January, and they do receive an email. So just like logging into here to go to their social assets and awards package, that will be emailed to any 2024 award winners. But again, we won't see it probably towards the end of the month. Now, if you guys are being proactive, which I know most of you amazing ASCs and RSCs are, they actually already have the assets in Marketing Center. So if we go back to desk and go to Marketing Center, they already are going to have the templates in there. You just got to kind of update the year, update what the agent's level was, and you can produce those. But again, they will be provided to us towards the end of the year. Great questions. I love all these questions. I'll go ahead and pause and wait to see if any more have come in. Best thing you can do, though, is get to your agents, let them know that if they log in, they're actually able to go and see where they're at, and they're able to track their own information. And then, come June, July, they're like, I wonder where I'm at. They can log back in here, and it's going to give their progress to their next level. Now, while I wait for any more type questions, I will say the progress for the next level, if they close on a Tuesday, it's not going to be there on Wednesday. So typically what will happen is in a month, they have all their closings and transactions. Our accounting department e-pays our franchise fees throughout the month. And then there's a 3-day span after the end of the month where we make sure everything is caught up. And that's usually when the brand will load their next level. So it's not going to be real time. It's usually by month, but don't tell them to go there like on the first of the month. Encourage them to check it third through the fifth, because there it does take a little bit of catch up time when it comes to some of the accounting on that. But it will track their progress for them. They've not necessarily been sent an email about the awards tracker not working. It's from 2020. Quite frankly, it never really did work. So they haven't necessarily been notified it doesn't work. Don't necessarily know that they need to. We just need to point out that the award portal is where they want to go to track their information. Now, if you're getting a lot of questions in your office and it's kind of like spreading that that's working, feel free to email your agents and let them know. Send them, the information about how to get to the awards portal, and then that is actively where they want to go today, but not necessarily where they ever notified. Again, it's been a couple years. Quite frankly, I really don't know why it's still in there, to tell you the truth. Great questions. I don't see any more coming through. So, of course, after the fact, if you come up with anything, if you're helping an agent log in and it's not looking the way it should look, don't hesitate to reach out and ask. And I appreciate your time this morning. As always, this will show up in Schmidt Video Classroom in the BlueSync playlist here shortly after the call. So thanks so much for your time today. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate all your help in recognizing our amazing agents. And here's to an amazing 2025. Thanks, everyone. Bye now.